Welcome to Urban Homestead Radio, preserving a homegrown way of life and inspiring others to bring the revolution home. Thanks to the support of our sponsor, Lehmans. For over 60 years, they have provided practical, non-electrical tools, appliances, and home goods. When technology fails, their products will certainly work. Check out their website at lehmans.com. That's Lehmans.com.
Let's go down to the Urban Homestead, Pasadena by the freeway, right down there on the Urban Homestead.
Hi homesteaders, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Anais Dervaes from the Urban Homestead in Pasadena. It's a beautiful late spring day here on the homestead, and if you could be outside in the garden, you would see sunflowers that are bursting, so many against the blue sky. They're just beautiful, and bees are buzzing and sleeping on the sunflower heads. And the tomatoes and the cucumbers and beans and all that are growing almost as tall as me, so we expect to have some of the tomatoes ripening very soon. I hope everyone is safe and doing well, especially with all that's been going on recently. Audrey Hepburn said, "Gardening is the greatest tonic and therapy a human being can have. Even if you have a tiny piece of earth, you can create something beautiful, which we all have a great need for. If we begin by respecting plants, it's inevitable we'll respect people." So speaking of people and the love and respect we have for them, especially our fans, followers, customers, and our interns. They say many hands make light the work, and with their willing farm hands, they've really helped us during this time of COVID and dealing with that. Since our farm box program has tripled in size, the farm hands and the volunteers and interns have really come out and helped us on a weekly basis, and we are so grateful for that. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing one of our interns, is Tori. She's here with me today. You have such an amazing smile and personality. I just immediately fell in love with you the first time I met you. So tell us how we met and how you came about helping here at the homestead.
Let's see. Well, I was taking classes around the corner at Pasadena City College, and decided to just drive over here after class one day and come knock on your guys' door and asked if you had any opportunities for volunteer work or internships. I found you guys by just randomly going on Google one day and searching everything related to being outdoors in nature, gardening, permaculture, farm work, and you guys were close to the school, and I saw like your website and social media accounts, and I felt like this was going to be the right place for me.
Mm-hmm. So. And you came knocking one day. You came in person,
and
knocked on the door. And I came out, and you were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey," and
also,
so we just sort of connected.
You have a nose piercing. I have an eyebrow piercing. I noticed that immediately, and we were wearing like the same like clothes. Like you had like a brown jacket, and I had a brown jacket. Your hair was down, my hair was down. You stepped out. I'm like, whoa, sis, like. Yeah, this is the spot for me.
Cool. I'm so glad. Yeah, so tell us a little about yourself. You know, you don't have to go in depth, but like some of your, like you said permaculture and gardening, farming, so it looks like you're already in that sort of path. How did you get there, and what's your passions, and what do you like how did you get to come to the homestead, and your journey to becoming interested in permaculture and farming and all that sort of stuff?
I think it's kind of like before that. Just as a child, my happiest memories are always in being in nature in some way, whether it's making mud pies, digging for worms, or just running around the park. Making potions too, from like the water and dirt and all flowers.
Spinning it at the flowers. Oh
yeah,
totally.
Those iconic yellow flowers you find everywhere when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I always had a strong sense of, like, I know it's a buzzword, but I'm trying to find an alternative word to use. I can't, so I'll just say it, but like kind of social justice and community and just, getting to the heart and the root of things and something that unifies people. I always knew that was kind of the line of work I wanted to get into. I took a different route, and so I started to get into the arts and specifically music. So for many years, I was interning in various music groups and companies, and while I loved it so much and I love all the people I met there, I just found that sitting down in an office environment wasn't helpful for me. It wasn't lifting my mood, and I just felt like I could be doing something a little more like hands-on to help a community. And around the same time, I have been friends with a few people from another group who shout out Regenerative Collective. They're amazing, and when they find empty parking lots, and with the permission of the owners, they will go in and plant little community gardens with California native plants like sage and poppies, and I've always had fun doing that, and it was amazing to see people in the community drive by and watch that and be like, hey, can I help out? Do you need hands? And it would just bring people together, and I feel like that's really lacking right now, just how fast-paced everything is, and to-go orders and social media, everyone's kind of in their own apartments, so I don't know. I just knew that I needed to be outside and in a healthy environment, and I'm just happy I found you guys. Yeah.
And speaking of happy and healthy environments, I'll get to the other questions, but since you brought that up, is you tell me when you come to the homestead and you're helping, even though it might be a hot day or a rainy day or a bad day because of just the news and in general, you always say, and a bad day maybe for you in that day, you always say when you come to the homestead, even though you might not feel and you're tired and think, but when you come, sort of tell me about what happens.
Yeah, my mood is instantly elevated. It's lifted. I drive here with road rage in LA. I'm like, get out of my way. And then by the time I park and I walk over here with my sour face, by the time I enter the gate, I'm like, oh my God, why that was unnecessary. I'm never going to do that again. But it's like once I'm in the healthy environment, and I breathe in all this fresh air from the plants and see all this greenery, how happy the bees and the birds are. You can hear them just chattering their little bird mouths off. So my mood is instantly elevated, and you're reminded the importance of humans to be outdoors.
It's outdoors in the greenery. So that's, now it's scientific proof. Gardening helps your mood, helps depressions, and I think, and actually I was talking to a side note on that, some of the social justice issues, if places were in the inner city had actually more green space and greenery, I think that would boost everybody's morale and mood and things like that. So, and
the people want it too. I always hear kids in low income areas, they're like, Mom, when can we go to a garden? And it just that breaks my heart, but it's also an incentive to we need to help our humanity. We need to help each other out, and if somebody doesn't have access to green space,
they should have access.
They should. It's the same thing as a food desert. If in your community, because of prejudice, the only thing you have is a liquor store and not access to healthy food, it's the exact same thing with green space. If you only have one park and it's not being invested in or funded that well, and the grass is dry and there's not that many trees, this affects your psychological health. People need green spaces.
Yeah, because I'm saying you feel it.
It's proof. I'm proof.
It's proof. You can have a bad day and you want to,
Yeah, what do people do when they're stressed? They take a vacation and they go up into the woods.
Yeah, and so here you can find it maybe in your backyard. But if we can't, we should create this for people. And so that's, like I said, I think that's, I've been thinking more about that, especially with all the issues going on recently. So that's been something on my mind.
It's a great unifier and sign of peace is to just have garden.
Yeah, I agree. So how long have you been volunteering? How many months has it been?
I think it's definitely since winter. I want to say December or January.
So almost 6 months then.
Yeah,
wow,
definitely.
Okay,
right before the virus hit. I was like, dang, they just made it in.
Yeah, so I obviously the farm uplifts your spirits. So what are some of the favorite tasks that you enjoy most doing?
Personally, all of it's amazing. It's hard to pick your favorite, but I think in terms of what's helpful is actually learning to plant seeds and the process of turning over the soil, and how it's kind of like the lasagna, the nutrients and the composting in the soil. It's amazing to watch, and it's very humbling too, because you have to actually get your hands dirty and smell
Yeah, smell compost.
Yeah, you have to
It's a little,
smell the,
right?
you know. But it's beautiful and it's very symbolic. And when you see that tiny little green plant sprout, your heart just jumps for joy because you're like, oh my God, like you nurtured that thing. And it's done an intern, like, nurture other people when it comes to fruition. Like, just, I don't know, it's amazing. It's very humbling. And I think it's also like, I don't know. I can't stop.
Does it? Yeah. Does it give you maybe like I'm thinking it's like gives you appreciation where your food comes from? Like how long? Because we're just so used to going to the grocery store and just getting everything and it's instant.
Yeah.
So you see the process from start to finish,
and you take more pride and more gratitude and appreciation in what you're eating. And I genuinely do think it does taste better, and it's not just me. I think your customers and your guests that come in are a testament to that too. They keep coming back and. Your orders have gone up, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
It's real. I know you can't beat fresh picked stuff. That's just right from the garden. And then, like I said, we're partnering with for the Farm Box program. We're partnering with 2 to 3 other farms, and so we've actually kind of create our own microeconomy. So that's been helpful during this time because the farms also lost restaurant clients and catering clients. So we kind of help each other out. So like you said, so from soil to soil to seed to actually picking. You've seen it all now here at the farm, and so you've done soil blocking where you make the soil blocks, put the seeds in. You've harvested. Was there something new that you didn't have like new? Did you know about or hadn't tried before that you did something for the first time at the homestead? Like it was I never did this before.
Well, when I would, my previous like volunteer work for the other spaces, it was we already have the plants grown, so we were just digging and then putting them in and then watching them grow bigger. I've never done like in the full complete circle of like putting the seed in, putting, it into like good soil and flipping it over and that whole process and watering it and checking on it and picking it. I've just never done the full process before, so to do it and watch it is like amazing.
Cool. And I'm speaking of which, also the conversations that develop over the planting the seeds. I've seen you engage with the other interns and volunteers, and we've had very engaging conversations too. And so what are you incorporating from what you've learned at the homestead in your own maybe personal life, or what are you putting into your maybe your perspective and maybe changing your outlooks, or how is it affecting you both? I said you're eating good food and you're out in the open, but how's it changing maybe you and your perspective?
I feel like I was already kind of heading on that path, and being here just like upped it completely, and it's fundamentally changed me as a person in the best way possible. I don't take my food for granted anymore at all. I find myself making healthier decisions in terms of food choices, and just how I view the world in general. It's like less about consumption because you understand how much work it takes to grow things and to make products. Like you just don't take things for granted anymore. And you're more patient with people too. I think gardening teaches you a lot of patience with yourself, with the plants, with others. And just the need for unity.
We've had that conversation just recently, and we had a pretty long one. It was like, you're asking me things, because you're definitely, I guess, what would you be considered, a millennial?
Baby millennial. I just made it. I turned 26 this year.
So I was going to say a baby. So you're a baby millennial.
Let's see. Baby millennial, elder zoomer. So right in the border.
Okay, so
Quarter
your
century.
words, not mine. So there you go. So I was trying to figure out, because you're very, to me you're young because you're half my age. So
elder zoomer, baby millennial.
There you go. So we've had some engaging conversations because I'm interested in getting a young person's point of view of the world, because compared to where I was at 25, what the world looks like now at 25 for you, and so you're it seems like you're searching, I can, by your questioning of me and, my philosophy and what do I think of things. And I really enjoy that engagement when you ask me, do you mind me asking you something? And it gets me to think and articulate, what is inside me to transfer to you. And, I hope I help that in some point.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear it. And gardening too, I can't stop saying enough good things about the symbolism that we in our language take from nature, but gardens are a perfect example of the need for diversity in agriculture, you need
not monoculture. It has to be mono one thing. You know what happens with that. So
you need diversity in order for these things to grow and take fruition. And it's the same thing in terms of our society and our minds. We need to be exposed to different opinions and different perspectives so that we can grow something beautiful together. And their garden is the perfect example of that. You know how many different things are involved for things to flourish and thrive. So it's a safe space to bring stuff like that up because everyone's in a state of peace and you're not having a discussion while you're driving down the 101.
Right. So it gives you an openness to have the discussion. And I think that, and you were right, we were talking the other day, and I can't remember, it was a really nice long conversation while we were picking and packing. What was it? Spinach?
Probably, arugula, spinach, yeah.
And we got into books like the Unsettling of America by Wendell Berry, Small is Beautiful. So I was sharing with you what books had changed my life and my generation, and sharing that with you, and you in turn were sharing books that your generation, so because I'm not all into what's going on in that realm, and so it was really good to share that and help, because you were helping me see what it is to be in this world. And I hope I was encouraging you to think outside the box. So for me, growing up in homesteading lifestyle, I was always encouraged to nothing was off limits. Just do whatever you wanted. Meaning do whatever your passion was. Your passion was. So I know we still have rules and regulations in our society. So but it just gave me, my growing up was a little bit, more just open outside the box. And so I was never hampered by, this is the only way, or you should do this. And so I hope, that dialogue that other day was really special. So
it was. Thank you.
Yeah. So for people like, that you said you're a baby millennial, do you think a lot of them are wanting to, because like I said, it feels like there's a lot more, you say activism going on. There is, people are now standing for stuff. They're aware, conscious. And so do you think that the regenerative, sustainable, permaculture, urban farming movement is has a lot of maybe a lot of followers in your generation?
Huge. And I think on both sides, or any side of the political spectrum, I feel like my generation and the younger generation too, I think the elder millennials witnessed two huge market crashes. It's increasingly hard for us to be completely financially autonomous, something that previous generations may not have had to deal with. A lot of us are still living at home with our families, and it's kind of frustrating to feel like you're in student debt and you want to advance in life, but there's all these things that are systemic that are kind of making it very hard, if not impossible, to be the adult that maybe the boomer generation is telling us that we need to be. So it does feel quite hopeless for many of us, and I don't think that's just in the United States. It seems to be for millennials globally when you talk to them. So I think mental health has also been destigmatized in our generation as well. And I think that since we kind of feel like the game, or this is kind of impossible to win, or maybe rigged against our favor, it's why should I fully participate in it when I can go and maybe go off the grid or help my friends and family in a different way.
So maybe building like an alternative culture.
Yeah.
You think you guys like?
Yeah.
So, where would you see yourself building this alternative culture?
Well,
I mean, you've had that talk. Are you seeing yourself?
I think
you farming or
yeah.
doing?
I personally don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I will say, like, the tiny homes are the perfect example of the millennial culture of when we just don't really. I can't speak for all of us, but from those that I've talked to, it seems like most of us aren't after the things that previous generations might have been after. Many of us don't want a huge home and a white picket fence in the suburbs. Many of us, because we feel like, it's a game that's futile, like we'll just go and get tiny homes or maybe like some type of cooperative living. So yeah, definitely gardening, permaculture, urban farming all falls under that category because it's, kind of the meat of the community. Like food is unity, and it should be accessible for everyone. It's not a hierarchy the way the system is.
Very well said. So I was going to ask you like hope for the future. So what is, and you did kind of touch on that. Do you have a hope for the future and where you see this going? Do you think there's, from your perspective? Because we're growing food and we're growing community, and I think we all be growing hope. We have to, faith and hope is all in that gardening mentality, and so you cannot not have that.
Yes.
And so, are you having like a faith and hope growing inside you that you think?
Personally, I've always been a pretty idealistic person. Apparently, my friends, family.
Well, your smile says it all. Every time I was just like, "Do you not have a bad day?" No.
Since you started with an Audrey Hepburn quote, I will end with an Audrey Hepburn quote. And I also don't know if it's a real Audrey Hepburn quote because the internet gives quotes to people that don't always say it. But okay, according to the internet, Audrey Hepburn said, "To plant a garden is to have hope for tomorrow, or to believe in a tomorrow." And I couldn't agree more with that statement.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like that quote. And you're interested in herbs. I'd love to see that. And you have a bunny.
I do have a bunny.
What's the name?
His name is Linus. It's I don't know where, I don't remember how it came to me, but when you looked it up, it was like the son of a Greek goddess musician, and I'm a musician, and the son is also a musician, and like it just means like something to do with like wheat or hay and light, and I'm like, that's it. Yeah, when I adopted him, they gave him the name Mr. Sprinkles. I'm like, you're not a Mr. Sprinkles, you're cooler than that.
Yeah, cooler than that.
Sweet bun. Yeah. He loves all the veggies I get from here too. Thank you guys so much. I get to go home after volunteering with some fresh produce. And I always give the carrots and the fennel and the blackberry leaves to him, and he loves it.
And you bring stuff home to your mom too?
Yeah,
right?
the jams and honey and kale, grapefruit. Yeah, she loves.
You're always
grapefruit.
asking for grapefruit. So. And you like, I see for your Instagram page, you love, like I said, we're almost like kindred spirits. You love nature. You love that whole sort of. Yeah. And we're so blessed to be around nature now. Hopefully now the trails are open. You can go back to hiking.
And I definitely do want to take the information that I've learned here and just kind of help inspire my friends who maybe aren't in this world yet. They're still in their lane, which is cool. They're doing great in different parts of the music industry, but I know I see them peeking. They're like, "What are you doing over there? Let's do it."
Well, you should
I'm
bring
like,
it
"Come
over.
on in
Come
to
on
the
in.
party, and then let me show you how you can go do it in your own community, and we can spread this beautiful movement of urban homesteading and community gardens, and just kind of focus on the issues that unify us and reform the ones that don't."
Yeah.
Through plants.
Who
doesn't love
growing,
plants?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know who can get mad at plants. And you see that, and even in the cracks that the homestead, walking on the sidewalk, you see a thing coming through the cracks. They're resilient.
Yes.
These plants they grow everywhere. And I think that's, to see that little plant try to go in the crack of a sidewalk, even though, like I said, to me, when I see things in the news and it's like, oh, what are we going to do? You just go outside and you just see the life, and you can't not appreciate and realize how blessed we are to be surrounded by nature. Yes. and it really boosts my spirit on sort of gloomy or doomy days.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, if anybody is interested in our internship program, you can go to our website. We have an internship application form. We do have about, I think, must have about a handful of interns right now taking some days. They're coming once a day. You're coming in like 3 times a week now. You might as well move in your little tiny home pretty soon if you find your tiny home. So we'll have a little space for you eventually. But yeah, and so yeah, if you're interested, you can go to our website. And I know you said that was a perfect quote for the final words, and I was trying to think is there anything else we can share before we sign off. We're in June now, and we made it, I think.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it.
I think it's lavender season, right?
Right, lavender season.
Yeah, which is perfect. The world needs a lot of calmness.
Yes, calm. Saging.
I think it's nature's way of being like, here, children, take these herbs and chill out.
And our sage bundles are dry, so we can One of my friends, he was like, I need some more of your sage bundles. I was like, why? He's like, I'm going to the protest and I'm going to bring it and like bring some smudge out for protection. Oh, that's so nice. I'll be there in spirit. So that was nice. Yeah. Yeah, so until I hope that we'll see more of you. I really look forward to working with you, especially we have some projects that we've been mulling over, especially with the music and the podcast. I'm very interested in working with you on that and from your perspective. So hopefully, and then the nonprofit. Hopefully, maybe we can bring you on in the nonprofit part and see if we can, grow a better world, I think. Yeah. And I think that's
snaps of that. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
Oh, and then hopefully we get to go to Metabolic again. Hopefully start to get
shout out Metabolic. Thanks for being awesome and inclusive. And
yes, we miss you guys, Millie and Lauren and all the whole crew there and Yara. And so now I guess we're gonna go plant some stuff.
Get to work.
Tomorrow's the tomorrow we're gonna get ready for the Farm Box program, pick and pack some more stuff. So we appreciate all the support from our customers. And until next time, please be well, be safe. Any final words you want to shout out?
Just come by, learn. If not here, just do some research. Gardens are amazing, nature's amazing, and food and plants are a beautiful unifier, and we can learn so much from the process to apply to our own lives. So peace, love, happiness, and wellness.
And with that, we say so long till next time. Bye.
So long, bye.
We love to hear your feedback or questions. Visit us at urbanhomestead.org to check out what's happening on the homestead. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And until next time, keep on growing.
Back to the plan, right down there on the Urban Homestead, loving the life back into the land.